this week agana Chris alipikwa risasi na hawakupeleka ng'ombe wakawacha ng'ombe akapika alafu akachiendea. Hiyo inamaanisha kwamba Kindiki unalalia kazi yako. Kindiki, stop this PR. Stop the PR, Mr. Kindiki. Tell the truth.
Now, ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit now says that the country needs to learn patience even as it goes through the difficult situations. Sapit, who was speaking during the celebration of the 40-year anniversary of the ACK Eldoret Diocese, which was attended by President William Ruto, said leadership is born out of struggle and difficult times.
Something that I want to sound Your Excellency as an alarm, and don't get worried. It's not very popular with politicians. You know, we have been now mobilizing, and I've seen us mobilizing each community to give birth en masse. And everywhere I go, and it started na mzee wetu Olentimama, aliwaambia Wamasai, mtoto akifikisha 200 ongeza ingine. Alafu akaendelea akasema, si 200 tena, gambi kikuwa tungumu kidogo, ongeza ingine. Incidentally, I became a student because I have 7. But I want us to sound an alarm that, you know, Your Excellency, the pressure we have now as a nation, we have a very young population where half of the nation are dependent. It is children between 0 and university. They are not in the production stage, but that's where the heaviest budget of your budget goes to. The other group are the elderly, whom we really thank you for, you know, giving them something, anybody above 70 in the country. So if you put those and the children and probably the unemployed, the people who are carrying the bulk and the load become a smaller few. And these are the people we are also targeting to give tithe, and they're the people who are paying taxes. And if we continue adding more children, we shall have more dependents who will have a heavier part of your budget, which now, you know, education is carrying the heaviest part of the budget, healthcare is carrying the heaviest part of the budget. So I think we need to begin a crusade, wasipitishe waine, so that we are able to manage in posterity. I know for politicians, numbers is what we want, but we also need numbers that are manageable and numbers that can be able to be planned within the resources that we have. May the Lord bless us together, and may God bless the Diocese of Eldoret as we continue to celebrate the 40th anniversary as Antony.
Now, Ole Sapit says that the ACK Church has invested into the environmental sector to try and save God's world by planting trees. Well, now crossing over to different issues to do with the boy child. Now, Deputy President, the spouse to the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, that is Pastor Dorcas Gachagua, says there's need for Kenyans, or rather for Kenya, to focus on the boy child, who has long been neglected by the society, leading to the atrocities being witnessed, or rather visited by the girl child. Now, speaking to the Kenyan community in German, the Second Lady said the level of depression and suicide among the boy child is on the rise.
At the boy child, it is impossible for a community to thrive without the boy child, because he's a seed carrier, he's a leader, he's a father. And therefore, if we are going to have thriving communities, we must make sure that the boy child is in the center and his dreams and vision are validated. And that is the work I'm actually trying to do. When I went to the universities in Nairobi, I found that drug and alcohol and abuse and substance abuse was very rampant. And to my very surprise, that 1 year they had lost 55. They had committed suicide. And I asked myself, as a mother, would I just sit back, watch a generation being wiped by substance and alcohol abuse and doing nothing. And that is when I started the advocacy and decided to become the boy child champion. And what we are doing is we are going out, and I must thank the government, most sincerely, the president, the deputy president, the minister for interior. They came in very strongly and they started advocating the cause of a boy child, where we are now working with administration to make sure this illicit brew is removed, and every wine and spirit that is laced with poison is being removed from the shelf, and whatever is left is what that does not kill our boys. And when I look at the whole scenario across the world, I find this is replicated everywhere.
Now, taking a quick look on our dailies, starting with the Standard right here. Ruto, my many trips benefit the country. Now, President William Ruto says that has defended his trips out of the country, assures economy stability. Now, Ruto says that he travels to seek opportunities for Kenyans and plan how to move country forward. Now, President Ruto also announced that the government will stop importation of maize from the year 2025. Now, this is interesting. We are waiting to see exactly how this will turn out to be. Now, troubled kingdom. King Charles III flies into the country tomorrow as is expected to attend to several functions in his 4-day visit. However, the challenges in Commonwealth and need for a charm offensive to bring the union together are at heart of the visit. Now, well captured in page 2 and 3 right there. People's agenda, local eager to learn what King has in store for them. Now, will the monarch apologize for colonial atrocities? Will there be reparations for sins committed in name of British monarch? Now, looking at that closely, the Kenya Human Rights Commission members, led by the Executive Director Davis Malomba and Board Chairperson Davinda Lamba, yesterday addressed a press conference on some of the demands they want the British government to consider following the visit of King Charles to Kenya. And looking at the statistics right there, 90,000, this is the number of Kenyans who were executed, tortured or maimed in Britain's brutal crackdown on the Mau Mau rebellion, the Kenya Human Rights Commission says. Now, some of the issues raised, and also now questions over a legacy of British colonial rule to confront Charles. Now, remember, King Charles III wants to affirm relationship with Kenya, and the shared history. He could be hoping to rejuvenate Commonwealth, which is facing leadership challenges. Remember, there are 54 states in the Commonwealth, a body which has its main arteries in the UK. Now, the association has lately had, or rather experienced, a myriad of challenges. Now, this lack of Commonwealth cohesion was obvious in the UN General Assembly vote in March 2022, condemning the Russian invasion of Ukraine, where 9 Commonwealth countries abstained. Now, King Charles will be coming in to the country tomorrow, and a lot has been said, or rather Kenyans are expecting a lot from his visit. Remember, this will be the first state visit to an African country and also to a Commonwealth since he took over as the King of England. Now, he will be coming to the country. We shall be taking a look on that specifically to do with the matters compensation to the over 90,000, according to the Kenya Human Rights Commission, over 90,000 Kenyans who were tortured and maimed by the British back during the fight for freedom. Now, we shall be taking a look on that later on. And also, Daily Nation has highlighted a very interesting piece right there. For 39 years now, the era is coming to an end. That is for KCPE 844 system in primary school. Now, today marks a watershed moment in the history of education in the country. The 39th and last group of learners to spend 8 years in primary school is writing their KCPE exams, a key plank of the 844 system of education. And as the country marks the changeover into the CBC school system, Kenyans look back at a system that had both critics and supporters. Now, Paul Mecha, just taking a quick look on what some of a few who underwent the 844 system in 1985, that is Paul Mecha, who was in Digoma Primary School in Nyamira County, says, the exam we did were hard, but we managed to pass well. We had art and craft, music and agriculture. The same subjects are in the new CBC, so why is the education system changing? Still, Paul doesn't seem to understand why the education system is changing from Nyamira County. And a quick one, let's take a lady. In 2014, Mudhoni Washira, the CBC system is better because it focuses on learners' talents and abilities. I did my KCPE in the year 2014, and I strongly feel that I followed the wrong career path. The system led many people to pursue the wrong courses as well as jobs. Well, CBC is here with us. We are now still waiting to see its real impact in a few years from now. You know, those who will be able to tell us how best is CBC are those who are now sitting for the KPSE exams and those who are in grade 7 now heading to grade 8, since they will have a better understanding and experience of CBC. We'll only see the benefits of CBC once this lot of the first CBC guys get into the job market. We will see their efficiency. We'll also see their level of understanding and grasping issues to do with what the job market demands. Well, we shall also be taking a look on this, a quick one later on our discussion, but a tragic incident that happened yesterday in Uasin Gishu County. It is so sad that just a day, or rather on Saturday, just a day before exams, we get to record number of deaths, or rather those who are sitting for the exams get to die. Now, tragic boat ride claims lives of 5 candidates hours to national test. Now, police report says Arap Moi Primary School pupils Caleb Kipkurui, Godwin Kiprono, Anthony Kiptoo, Abel Kemboi, and Evans Kiplimo died at Amazement Park on Saturday. Now, taking a look on that, it is sad that these pupils had to lose their lives just hours. You know, KPSE and KCPE is starting this morning. Now, it is also sad for a parent to receive news that your child has died hours before they sit for their national exams. Remember, it's been a all tiresome 10 years of taking them from a pre-primary school all the way to class 8. And now they get to lose their lives just a few hours to exams. Now, the CS say the ministry was working with the Ministry of Home Affairs to ensure thorough and conclusive investigations into the unfortunate incident is done. Now, that is according to Uasin Gishu County Director of Education, John Ringu, and County Director of Quality Assurance, Alex Nyakweba, who visited the school and described the incident as a major blow to the education sector. Now, the education sector, Ezekiel Machogu, also said that they are now investigating the cause of such an incident. How come 5 of them perished? Now, we say pole to the affected families right there in Uasin Gishu County. This is the time to highly take care of these kids. It is barely 3 days only. We need to take good care of them. If you are in a position to drop them to school, make sure you do that by yourself as a parent. Drop them, make sure they are in school. You can also pick them if you are allowed to pick them from school immediately. They are supposed to leave, that is in the evening. It is only 3 days. I'm pretty sure you can sacrifice for that. Ensure they are safe wherever they are. Now, a quick one on today's The Star before we take a break and come back with the day's discussion, taking a look on some of these issues. Remember, today's The Star, inside efforts to reconcile Uhuru and Gachagua. Now, the DP has traversed different parts of Mount Kenya region calling for unity. And remember, this is now in what is bringing leaders angling for Mount Kenya kingship. And this will actually draw a very interesting debate today morning, trying to understand the possibility of each individuals listed here and their impact in Mount Kenya. Remember, trying to understand specifically. Martha Karua has been there, DP Gachagua is there, PNU boss Peter Munya all the way from Meru is also there, Kikuyu Member of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah is also there from Kiambu County, and Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro from Murang'a County. Uhuru Kenyatta is in the middle, remember, he is considered the kingpin of Mount Kenya region. Now, waiting to see how that will turn out. But then as Mount Kenya leaders, according to DP Gachagua, we have agreed not to be fighting him, and I'm planning to hold talks with him. I have ordered everyone to respect him, and he is also doing good to keep his peace. Now, that is according to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua later on. But waiting to see how different DP will be in case he is now going to be the Mount Kenya region kingpin. Remember also Martha Karua also had a different faction, which is likely to bring turbulence in Azimio La Umoja, together with Jeremiah Kioni. Now, how is this going to affect the future of opposition? Will Martha Karua still remain in opposition till her retirement, or is there a chance for her to come back to the government through such talks that DP Gachagua is intending to have? Remember, there is hearsay that there shall be a meeting to bring together Mount Kenya leaders in December this year. Now, we're still waiting to see how that will turn out to be. And intense lobbying ahead of Mwangaza impeachment debt with senators well captured. Remember, Mwangaza was impeached last week by 59 members of Meru County Assembly who were present. Only 10 who were absent did not participate in the voting, but for the 59, all of them voted to have her removed from office. Now, the matter is moving to Senate. We're waiting to see how the Senate will take that matter. Remember, this is the second time she's facing impeachment. The first time she was saved by the senators. Will she survive the second impeachment? Now, intrigues in Governor Mwangaza's impeachment debt with senators. So now, political leaders from Meru want Oster hearing prosecuted in the plenary. Now, interesting one this time round. Many are waiting to see, and I'm pretty sure wherever Mwangaza is, she doesn't really have that peace that many of us would think she ought to have been having. It's all system go as last cohort starts KCPE exam. Now, preparation for national exams were last evening completed ahead of the last Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations that begins this Monday. The Kenya National Examination Council said all the exam materials and personnel, including supervisors, invigilators, and security officers, had been dispatched. Waiting to see that out starting today all the way to Wednesday, when the KPSEA and KCPE exams will be running through. Now, matters crime, the love triangle links in murder of city taxi driver. That is, detectives are pursuing love triangle and agreed for wealth theories as they investigate the murder of a taxi driver whose body was recovered from River Sagana in Murang'a County 2 weeks ago. The team said they are investigating claims that Evans Morasha's body was killed, or rather was removed from his house in Mihango on October 11th. Now, interesting turn of events right there on matters crime. But we shall be back talking on matters politics. Is there a likelihood that Gachagua and Kenyatta will join forces to bring together, or rather to frontline Mount Kenya region on matters politics and still make them an important factor in our Kenyan politics? Now, we shall be back with that and many more. Remember also matters to do with the Deputy President, or rather President William Ruto's visit to other nations, which has sparked uproar amongst Kenyans. We shall be back in a short while. Don't go too far.
Watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Walisema mnywa maji kwa mkono mmoja,
kiu yake pale pale. Ndiposa tumekuletea wewe mtazamaji wetu
mkono mwingine ili kukata kiu yako na ari yako ya ufahamu.
Naam, ngoma imechezwa mtazamaji, basi hatuna budi kulisakata kukuletea wewe ufahamu wa kaunti yako,
tukiangazia masuala ya siasa na uongozi,
jamii na itikadi,
maendeleo na changamoto katika kaunti yako. Ungana nami Belinda William,
nami Emmanuel Marwa
kwenye makala ya Gatuzi Langu kila siku ya Jumatatu saa 5:30 hadi saa 6:30.
Through the morning rush and the buzz, find the voice you can trust, a voice of reason, a voice of direction, and the voice of hope.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Live. I'm Cynthia Nanjala.
And I'm Samia Dika. Rise and shine, folks. We hope you are ready for an energizing start to your day.
Absolutely. We are here to bring you the latest headlines and trending news stories from the world of politics,
business and finance, health and lifestyle,
agriculture and sports.
So grab your coffee, sit back and get ready for a fantastic morning of engaging discussions and news segments.
Join us through our social media handles, #The Morning Live. This is Morning Live, exclusively on EBN TV.
Hello, praise the Lord. My name is Pastor Joseph Musajawaza of Unfailing Love Ministries. I'm inviting you every Wednesday to join us on our program, Victory Through the Word. In this program, we teach you God's Word. We teach you to find solutions and answers to the struggles of life through the Word of God. Everything you ever go through in life, every pain, every tear, every worry, and every questions that you may ever have in this life. You may not get answers out there, but in God's Word, there are answers and there is a solution. The Bible says that God has exalted His Word above His name. In His Word, there is hope. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but His Word will always remain abide. I encourage you, engage with us as we study together, as you ask your questions, and let your questions be answered as you are built and as you hear God's Word. Our church is located in Umoja, Inako, near Olobon Hotel, just off Sango Stage along Moi Drive, and the court is known as Church Court. Give us a visit and your life will not remain the same. God bless you. Let's meet every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. only on EBN television.
In a fast-paced world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters: your relationship with God. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we take you on a transformative journey of building your faith, without which it's impossible to please God. A journey of introspection and discovery of who you are in Christ Jesus.
For you to walk with God, you should not crumble when you come under pressure. Kama umeokoka, sema umeokoka mpaka mbele ya president, mpaka mbele ya chief justice, mpaka mbele ya kila mtu. Hiyo ndio kuokoka ya ukweli. Kuokoka ya ukweli.
Enjoy a faith-filled environment of worship and ministry of the word every Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 a.m. with Reverend Felix Kevoy, exclusively on EBN TV.
The word of the Lord
watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Welcome back to the morning live right here at EBN TV. It is interesting that today there's a lot to talk about, especially on matters politics. Let's now focus on the Mount Kenya politics, which in many years now we've known Mount Kenya to be the stronghold of any political faction. Now, joining me this morning is Muito Mureithi.
Thank you very much.
Many
good
thanks.
morning.
Good morning. Many thanks for coming through.
Yeah.
Now, a quick one. We've been seeing DP Gachagua before he traveled. You remember he's still outside the country. Now he's been moving across different nations. But then an interesting one, Gachagua was moving across Mount Kenya region, insisting on uniting Mount Kenya leaders.
Yeah.
Now, an interesting bit that is coming in right now, remember that they now want Uhuru Kenyatta to be brought together. And one of the statements of DP Gachagua is, as Mount Kenya leaders, we have agreed not to be fighting him, and I'm planning to hold talks with him, that is Uhuru Kenyatta. I have ordered everyone to report him, or rather respect him, and he is also doing good to keep his peace. That is according to DP Gachagua.
Yeah.
Talk to me, can they be brought together?
Well, firstly, before I even begin, may I express my sincere condolences to the families bereaved that lost their children, who are about to, some of them were about to sit for the exams. And it's a sad thing, for any parent to lose a child, especially at such a crucial time.
Yes.
There is no moment in life that you'd feel good that this is easy to lose someone, except when you're extremely living beyond the bonus, and we always say we thank God for that. But for the children who had have had a vision and a mission in life yet to be accomplished, I think we always say, okay, it's God's will. He has allowed that this happens the way it does. We will still celebrate the times that we had with those kids, but it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing losing young ones. I also wish to express my sincere wishes to all students who are sitting for the KCSE, KCPE. they have their vision set. There is what targets they've set for themselves they'd like to accomplish. It's my prayer that God enables them to accomplish that and even higher. And I think that goes very well to all students sitting for the KCSE. I also have a niece at Chinga Girls High School also sitting for this. And I wish my other constituency all the best.
Interesting.
Thank you. Now, coming back to the Mount Kenya politics. Like I told you, Rigathi Gachagua is one smart guy. When he made announcement that he's reaching out, extending an olive branch to Uhuru Kenyatta, was a few weeks ago. And I told you, strategically in politics, you have to play the political game with a strategy. And I told you the person who is left now to run around amok, trying to, gain face, is the person who has been, who's been invited. Because the one inviting seems to have settled. So the one who is being invited is the one who is now on the run.
Yes.
And that's how come they came up with this Kamwene outfit. Kamwene means yetu yetu, mutu wetu, yetu yetu. So ni kitu yetu, So it is an Uhuru thing. It was to cover up Uhuru so that Uhuru can have an entry point into whatever arena is being invited to by Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is inviting him into what we call the peace arena. So the peace arena is where Rigathi Gachagua is sitting with his 87% of the Mount Kenya people. And he's extended to the 13%. But to reach out to the 13%, he had to reach out to the leader of the 13%, that is Uhuru Kenyatta. So this is the politics that is now playing. The unfortunate bit of this politics is the sentiments Mount Kenya people have, especially with Raila Odinga.
A minute before you continue, there's something you've talked about, Uhuru Kenyatta being in control of 13% of Mount Kenya region. A good one. If he was not in Azimio, would he still be in control of 13 or more?
If he was not in Azimio, with Azimio, he would have controlled a larger chunk. He would actually have a larger say as a retired president. But now even the retired presidency thing is not something that is so close to the vision of the Mount Kenya people, because to a certain extent it was more of an insult because he did it according to his own wish and whims. So Mount Kenya people didn't like it. There was no consultation, there was no forward discussion with even the leaders whom we have appointed, elected as representatives. He never had that discussion. So it was his personal move. And every other person who was in it joined the bandwagon because they knew how much money was in it. Remember the money factor, because we were heading towards campaigns. So that is how come he actually reduced himself to just a mere leader in the region. He has quite some task to redeem his face amongst the people of Mount Kenya, because he even allowed the issue of the Mau Mau and the 1963 thing come around, and that is why he's pulling guys who would be sort of relevant with matters or identify themselves with matters 1963, which has been covered by the the history that the king has stood for. The king is coming. I'm not jumping into it, but what I'm not trying to say is what British gave to us. The history you have in Kenya is not the true history of Mau Mau, of liberation. So the true history that Kenyans have has very little currently concerning the Mau Mau, which was actually the cradle of of the battles that took place and the victory that came for all Kenyans. What you're saying is that is how he's trying to redeem his face, because in the politics of the during the campaigns, remember his family's position during the struggle for independence was so in question. Truly, it was so in question because they didn't seem like really freedom fighters, Mau Mau, but they seemed more like collaborators. So this is something that Uhuru Kenyatta's politics and stance allowed people now to dig into their history. Why behave like this? Those are the politics of that moment. So redeeming that face is going to be quite tricky. So he has to get the likes of Akina Maina Njenga, the former leader of Mungiki. I don't know whether it's extinct at the moment, but he is coming back with the youth maybe of the moment. I don't know whether it's going to be diplomatic or chaotic or forceful, as they had brought themselves out as, if you don't toe the line, then we push you. It doesn't matter whether you are Kikuyu or you are from whatever community. However, this is what now dents the image Uhuru is fronting to the Kikuyus. They don't hate their sons. What they do is that they may have some jitters and fears that this is what it is. So they might not really associate with Uhuru with open arms.
Yes.
You know. So this is the politics that is actually running in Mount Kenya. And Mount Kenya people, and I'll tell you, Meru, Kikuyu, Embu, these are people when you talk to them, until you convince them for them to begin to nod their head, you are still under their analysis room, and they are analyzing what you're saying, digesting what you're saying in silence. You know, that's why you can't hear too much response. You only hear the guys who are taking the cameras and speaking, the few, you know. But the Mount Kenya people are quiet. It's as though they're supporting it or they're not supporting it. But they are doing this analysis as I'm putting it to you right now. They are looking at it from those angles. Then it will come a time when they'll tell you, no, the direction you've taken is not right, and they're done. And that is why I'm saying that Uhuru Kenyatta has got a lot to do with redeeming his face. You have had Martha Karua and Jeremiah Kioni. These guys never garnered any votes anyway, even for Azimio itself. And it means they don't have a command. So claiming still to be in Azimio is that they haven't yet understood why they were kicked out.
Interesting. Now let's bring this together. What do you think pushed Gachagua to start this uniting Mount Kenya thing? Remember, there's been a lot of dynamics, political dynamics from Raila, Ruto. We have Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. We also have Musalia Mudavadi. You know, the people saying that Mudavadi is fit for this job. Remember, he was added more responsibility. The office of the opposition leader is coming in. Is it a way for Gachagua now to stamp his authority and say that as Mount Kenya region, they're behind me?
You know, it's ridiculous. When they were campaigning, what did Rigathi bring to the table? It's Mount Kenya. He delivered Mount Kenya vote. What did Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula team up to deliver? The Mulembe vote. Okay? What did the Owalos and the Sia senator, is he senator? Yeah, I think. Yeah. The Sia senator and many others, Akina Kidero, ganged up to do? To deliver the Nyanza vote to then candidate, now His Excellency President Dr. William Ruto. Everybody came with his community to the table, and Dr. William Ruto delivered to himself 100% of the Kalenjins. Okay, this is the politics of the time, or even, let's say 95 or 98%. This is the politics we're talking about. Why does it become a dicey, sensitive issue when Mount Kenya begins to regroup? You know, you see, the differences with the Bukusu and the rest of the Luya is not an issue. And you've had Atwoli talk about it openly. But when Kikuyus say we want our 13% back, that is through via Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, now the leader of Mount Kenya, it becomes an issue to the rest of the country, you know, because they know if you're able to deliver 47% of votes that elected William Ruto, 7 million votes, 47% of it, if you win back the 800,000 votes that were given to Azimio from Mount Kenya, then it means you'd have over 50% as your bargain. Now, being an opponent from the Mulembe Nation, from the coastal region, from whatever region, you would say, hey, bana, huyu jamaa tumkatakate miguu ili pia hao tuweze kuvuta percentage yetu ionekane. So let's split Mount Kenya. And that's the politics they've done. So they can even sponsor the split of Mount Kenya votes, you know. So That's why you see politicians from the regions like Western Kenya or other parts of the country can support and begin to tend to understand what is happening in Mount Kenya between Uhuru and Rigathi Gachagua, groups. But what there is that Mount Kenya is intact, and as a leader, when you're elected as a unifying factor. So Rigathi Gachagua stands as a unifying factor for the Mount Kenya people, now occupying the highest position as a member from the Mount Kenya. And he has to try as much as he can to bring all Mount Kenya people together, which is what he is doing by extending even an olive branch to the team that voted for the opposition.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, according to Maina Njenga, that is former Mungiki leader, we are talking to Uhuru as we speak. The date and time of the event will be announced soon. By the end of the year, mambo yatakuwa tu sawa. Things will be okay. That is according to Maina Njenga. Remember that insiders say considerable progress has been made in the push that will culminate in a mega event in Nyeri, where Uhuru will hand over the political mantle to Gachagua in December. Yeah. So it is still believed Uhuru is their leader, just that he has not officially embraced Gachagua.
According to the 13%, which is where he was elected by Jubilee with a Jubilee on a Jubilee ticket, he's a Jubilee ally. He's a Uhuru ally. Let's assume, taking an example of Israel and the Arab world. If the Arab world sends Ayatollah of Iran, or the president of Iran, to go and discuss peace with Israel at the moment, it becomes very difficult unless they send emissaries of Arab countries that are friendly to Israel. So if Iran would like to speak to Israel, they will send maybe Egypt to speak to Israel. But what Uhuru Kenyatta has done, he has sent Ayatollah to Israel. The guys who have vowed, sworn that this is how it must be, and the people know. So when you send Maina Njenga to champion peace, I think he's missing a point. There's some things he's not really looking at. I'm telling you, the youth of then, who were misused that time, really caused fear amongst the Mount Kenya people at that time when Michuki was handling these issues. And I can tell you, it was not a sweet moment, because there are families which lost sons and daughters in the process. And this is the history that lingers in the mind of the Mount Kenya people. Now, sending the gentleman, we always understand and agree that maybe change takes place, maybe with time, but some changes, they have taken root, it becomes a bit tricky. So I think it's for the Jubilee side to change tact, and allow President Uhuru Kenyatta to swallow his pride and just come and speak with Gachagua. Once they talk, it will be, imagine it's only one meeting. That would be enough for them to make the whole of Mount Kenya be in good terms. Where people will have a meeting and say, I know this is politics and we had to clash, you had to play your game, I had to play mine, but I think it is time we put those differences aside and begin to chart a new direction, But the issue of who becomes the leader, I think that one will take longer, because Gachagua will have to step up his game, and he is stepping up his game, because he has to stamp his authority in Kenya Kwanza government, being the DP, and knowing what was done to William Ruto. His Excellency William Ruto may not really use that same tactic that was used on him by Uhuru Kenyatta. So Gachagua is very alert on that. And he's also keen that any other tactic may be brought forth. That is why you see any move, even appointments, reshuffles, very quick to sit down with the Mount Kenya team and, hey, what do you think? Then they say, oh, there's no issue. Then they move on. That's how the camp is actually operating. And I can tell you it's a serious thing. Ruto is a good guy, the president, and I believe they trust him, because that's why he was given all these votes from Mount Kenya. And so they still know that His Excellency President William Ruto also has something at the back of his mind that he could be working on, because definitely you wouldn't like to be under subjection of, a certain clique, a certain group, because they gave you with the majority votes. So definitely he could be having a strategy in the sleeves. So what we are saying is that they understand this, and that is why they're marshalling again their strength by pulling in the Jubilee side. So but the Jubilee side will have to re-strategize.
So it is a tactic to remain relevant.
It's a tactic, and I'm telling you, the only way to remain relevant in that game for the Jubilee is to allow Uhuru himself, is for Uhuru himself to allow himself to come down and speak to Rigathi Gachagua, either privately and then they make it public.
Interesting. Yeah. But remember in 2002, DP, the current DP was his PA during the 2002 elections.
Absolutely.
Now let's shift to some of the faces highlighted here by the star. Rigathi Gachagua from Nyeri. We have Martha Karua from Kirinyaga County. Then we have PNU boss Peter Munya from Meru. Kikuyu Member of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah, Kiambu Kihara Member of Parliament Ndini Nyoro from Murang'a. All of them enjoy different following, different.
Yeah.
Not equal, but different. We understand that Martha Karua has been on the game for quite some time, together with the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. We have PNU boss Peter Munya, and who's been there, as compared to Kiharu Member of Parliament and Kimani Ichung'wah, that is Kikuyu Member of Parliament. All of them have faces, and they have masses considerable. But right now, we know that DP Gachagua is the top guy to be considered as the Mount Kenya kingpin.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, if they were to go with the Kiharu Member of Parliament, Ndini Nyoro, he's got some muscle. We've seen he's really done some good job in Kiharu.
Yeah.
Commendable job in matters CDF development agendas. And he's coming out as a very strong leader in terms of keeping his stand. We saw that during the Tanga issue. Yes. How would you describe him?
Well,
in terms of his political muscle.
One thing is that comparing Ndini Nyoro with Martha Karua, before I get to comparing Ndini Nyoro with Martha Karua, I would compare her with Anne Waiguru. Because the place where she would claim to have support is Kirinyaga, where she garnered, I think, 38 votes. For Azimio, as the deputy, as the running mate. The last time she was in, gubernatorial elections, she was also floored by Anne Waiguru. So who would you go for as your emissary in Kirinyaga for the Kirinyaga vote? Would you go for Martha Karua, even if she would be within the clique, or would you go for Anne Waiguru? What I'm trying to say is, this is politics, and she may have occupied a top position in an irrelevant group to the Mount Kenyans, that is the Azimio. Irrelevant as in, they don't even care, even you, if you're the leader. So, being the number 2, and they gave him 38 votes, I think it's around 38 votes, it tells you a lot of things. So comparing to Ndini Nyoro, the student of Irungu Kang'ata, because he was once his PA, Irungu had delivered. And remember, Irungu is not money that he used to become what he became. From MCA to governor, is not money. That guy knows how to work around his strategies and to deliver. And even right now, he's among the best delivering governors. Now, this is his student who took over same constituency. And he's also done wonders. Because I think even the schools today, they are in very good shape and still working. And he's expending his CDF money appropriately, no issues. Because I think a larger chunk of the CDF money is actually going to the people, unlike many other constituencies where it's only too much talks and stories. So people like Munya, I don't think Munya has a big support unless he detaches himself from Azimio. Then he would begin to make some little sense in Meru. Not in Mount Kenya, just in Meru. But he has Mythical Inturi to beat, who is now the chairman of Njuri Ncheke. So when you hear Kawira is beaten by Njuri Ncheke, it is Mythical Inturi who is using it, who was beaten by Kawira, you know. Yes. When you hear Kiraito is one who was also in the contest and was beaten, floored by Kawira. Yes. So this battle is between two guys who lost to Kawira, Wangaza, who are now poisoning the Meru people, so much so that they don't receive development. Now, if Peter Munya takes advantage and comes in maybe as a reconciliatory factor, humbly, which I don't think humility could be his virtue, but humbly, if he plays that game, then he would win the hearts of these people and detach himself from Azimio. If he detaches himself from Azimio and come in as PNU and begin to do the politics, planning to be relevant in 2027, he would again inherit a CS seat maybe around there. He would have that power to negotiate for such. Yes. Because while he was governor, he has a lot that can be used against him to beat him. To fight against him. So definitely he would go for something else. And this is like a CS thereafter. So what I'm trying to say is that the person, as you can see, even the pictures that are drawn here, they want to make it seem as though Uhuru is now the kingpin. However, I would say Uhuru is the most popular, is more popular compared to Rigathi Gachagua, because Rigathi Gachagua is now building his history. Uhuru has had his history built on 10 years, platform. Yes. So definitely he would take the larger image by the fact that he's been there. Okay, but being there again is what have you been doing and what has been there, because what this guy championed to fight against him to reduce him to what he is right now is what he was doing when he had the power. So the business community, the agricultural sector did not really celebrate him until the time they were starting to make some funny moves with the then Minister for Agriculture, making some promises that they knew they were not going to sustain. Now, when sustainable development is now being delivered, it will become very tricky, because now Rigathi Gachagua has got his 5 years to prove his point. I don't know what kind of a giant he will have created himself to become in the Mount Kenya region, but I think he has that in mind. He has that in place. He's working on it, and he knows that the greatest obstacle right now is to reduce Uhuru, not to finish Uhuru, to reduce Uhuru to a mere former leader. Now Uhuru would now begin to play the statesman's position that would make a lot of sense for him. Remember when he was, crisscrossing a continent of Africa, working on the Congo issue, he seemed like a statesman. But I don't know if he relinquished the position or something, but nowadays he's not heard about whatever is happening in Congo. Matters peace. So what I'm trying to say is that if he takes a direction like that one, definitely he can be able now to still maintain that big image, of a statesman. That is what he would be fighting for, not a kingpin for the region. Now that becomes tricky. Look at Moi. He tried it. What did Akina, current president, do to him? He had to play his politics from where it positions him at that very moment. So if Uhuru thinks he can play it differently, it's going to be a bit tricky, because you're playing with people who are now in power. And that's how Moi now started becoming sort of irrelevant in the Nandi community. Yeah. But towards the end, he started playing like the elder of the Kalenjin community. So the same thing should happen with the Kikuyus.
Interesting. Yeah. Now we've seen that this is currently happening, uniting Mount Kenya region politics.
Sure.
But then remember, you highlighted the issue to do with the current president, William Ruto, knows very well that yes, he got some larger chunk of votes from Mount Kenya region, and still at the back of his mind, he still has a strategy.
As an individual, he must. He ought to.
Definitely, for survival.
Yeah.
And we've seen if whatever happened to him also happened to Gachagua, what will be the dynamics of our politics? Remember that now we will be knowing we are supporting you, but we know at the end of it all, you will still walk out. Remember in 2013, the then President Mwai Kibaki said, "Ninyi wa siasa, continue with politics. For me, I'm retired."
Yeah.
Yet he had pledged to support Raila.
Musalia Mudavadi.
Yes. What happened?
No, he had actually endorsed Musalia Mudavadi for the position. You know, during the term they had with Raila Odinga, the likely person to have been endorsed by Mwai Kibaki was Kalonzo Musyoka. But Kalonzo Musyoka always misses it. I don't know whether it's excitement or something. There's something that comes to him, that strikes him at the last minute, and he misses the focus. Kalonzo was the man to be endorsed because he knew too well that if he endorses Kalonzo, the Mount Kenya vote plus the Eastern vote and a bit of coastal vote would take him to the seat at State House. But Kalonzo missed it. What did he do? He ganged up with Raila Odinga and reduced himself to the second fiddle. So Kibaki lifted Musalia Mudavadi as an option. Don't say I didn't endorse somebody, I endorsed somebody. So he endorsed Musalia and he said, anaweza pia kuwa rais vizuri tena sana. He knows, you know. But that didn't work out. I remember I was also a proponent of, it's time for change. We've had Mwai Kibaki, we've had Kenyatta, so I think somebody else can step in. But the politics, the dynamics of the politics of that time, I remember when I was landing in Othaya as a chief campaigner, before I even stepped out of the vehicle, I was told, you must declare who you're supporting. Because the thing that had been hatched by Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto was already done. So I had to change my mind immediately that it's now Kamwana, that is former president Uhuru Kenyatta, and we supported him all the way religiously. So the politics of endorsement the politics of 2027. Uhuru Kenyatta, Rigathi Gachagua, Musalia Mudavadi, and don't think that the number 3 is going to stay and reduce himself to anything less than the number 3 he is right now. That is Moses Wetangula. He is the number 3 according to the structure of leadership in the country, because if anything, that's how they would succeed the current president, in that order. So this gentleman, the gentleman Mr. Moses Wetangula, the speaker, might not really play the politics of a lame duck. He's still going to try and become relevant. That's towards the end of this term. Yes. Because definitely he may not just wish to continue as the speaker. So those are the dynamics. But what I'm trying to say, the likely contenders are Rigathi Gachagua and Musalia Mudavadi. Yeah.
Now, let's shift slightly to the Kamwana.
That is deputizing William Ruto, not succeeding William Ruto.
Yes.
Deputizing.
Yes.
That's the 2027 elections.
Let's shift slightly to matters, the faction, the Kamwene, being led by Martha Karua.
Yeah.
Initially, you said it is a way for Uhuru Kenyatta to come back to the Mount Kenya region and redeem
with
himself.
With an outfit.
Yes. Is it going to weaken Azimio, the opposition? Remember, it has been very... it is picking up each and every day.
Well, Azimio, as we very well know, it is a Nyanza outfit, and the reason why they were pivotal in the politics of 2022 is because they had the money they were funding, not the votes. So their name was hyped because of the mullah.
Yes.
But now, if they pull out the mullah, then they don't become so relevant. That's why Raila Odinga has gone into endorsing Kalonzo Musyoka, because now the issue of finances, money, they know that Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to pour any more money on Azimio as he did last year, So definitely they had to now play politics. Now planning the politics, that's why he has endorsed Kalonzo Musyoka. But if the money was still coming, then they would be dictating from the financial corner. Yeah, but that's not really going to. It's not really going to shake the Azimio side politically, but it will shake the Azimio side financially. Yeah, that's why the Azimio side would go for the office of opposition, because it will be funded.
Interesting. But then someone was saying initially that in as much as the office of the opposition will be fronted, it won't have much weight in Parliament.
You know, strategically, The government side is pitting the official opposition leader with the leader of minority in parliament. Because there's a clause that talks about the leader of opposition appearing in parliament to say what? What is it that he should go to represent that is not represented by the minority leader, Mr. Opiyo Wandayi, in parliament? So Opiyo Wandayi may not have the audacity or the guts to stand against Raila and say, we are taking the wrong course by himself. And these will be the politics that will determine whether the former Prime Minister will be relevant in the 2027 elections or not. Because this is a battle that's going to be long. If they allow whatever will be brought out by the bipartisan, if it contains that Raila Odinga appears before Parliament, then that will be a different thing. It will be something that might take longer before they quell that fire. Yeah. So before they quench the fire, it's going to take like the next 4 years or 3 years.
Which again will now be facing the 2027 elections.
The 2027. So who will take advantage of that one? Kalonzo Musyoka. He's already declared himself as a presidential candidate for 2027. So the interest of 2027. So it means Kalonzo might step aside and begin maybe to woo the Mount Kenya support as a presidential candidate. So he will have to frequent Mount Kenya, you know, just to win some votes.
Remember,
it's a bit tricky. Deputy President is Rigathi Gachagua is there, working on deputizing William Ruto. But the politics of 2027, I think, will be a bit tricky. But Kalonzo Musyoka will try to see whether he can get some votes from Mount Kenya, as much as he goes for the coastal region and any other part, because if Raila Odinga remains and that friction is still there, then it means he might not get much from Western or even Nyanza. Yeah,
it's going to be tricky.
So it might be a walkover for His Excellency William Ruto.
That is if Kalonzo and Raila Odinga break.
No, if the bipartisan talks go through.
Yes, but if also Kalonzo and Raila Odinga break, still the eastern vote is split.
The eastern vote will be a swing vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we
wait. William Ruto and somebody else.
And still, most of them would still want to sponsor Kalonzo Musyoka to go on his own.
Yes. But like you saw, even after Kalonzo taking a direction, William Ruto is able to garner almost 50% of the Kamba vote. Yeah, within a short time. Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting.
It's an interesting thing. We have to keep a close watch.
Now, interesting. Yeah. We're also waiting to see how Kamwene will go. Remember, it is really coming out strong each and every day now, also increasingly. Remember, it's also because Raila Odinga seems to be leaning on Kalonzo Musyoka's side.
Yeah.
Now Martha Karua is left there hanging. Now I also have to look for a way to stay relevant. And
of course, if Martha Karua couldn't help Raila Odinga to crack the Mount Kenya, nut, I think it's going to be a bit tricky for him to, very hard for him to support Martha Karua for a crucial position like running mate.
Yes.
Or even endorse him as presidential candidate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now let's shift to this issue right here. We are having King Charles III start his 4-day visit in the country tomorrow, that is on Tuesday, 31st of October. Now his visit is coming at a time that the country itself is facing a lot of economic instability, and President William Ruto is working round the clock to make sure that come 2025, we will be much stable, especially in matters of agriculture. We won't be importing maize. That is exactly what he said yesterday while he was in Gishu County. Now, it is an interesting bid, but remember, the issue we've been talking about even previously to do with compensating Kenyans, those who were tortured, killed, maimed by the British. And according to the Kenya Human Rights Commission, they have estimated slightly over 90,000 Kenyans. That is basically back then. But the ripple effect has affected many. Their children to Mau and also their grandchildren. The effect has been there. Now, King Charles is coming. Some of the issues that Kenyans want to be addressed are the historical injustices.
Yeah.
Do you think to what extent will that be an issue?
Well, first, this is going to be one of the very unpopular visits of the monarch, British monarch. It has come at a time when people are rediscovering themselves as a country, that is, as a unit. Because for the longest time, Kenyans, even in schools, we are being taught a false history. And when you see people like the civil society groups, which make money out of whatever seems like whatever they can pitch a tent on, they pitch on the Mau Mau, and they talk of they pitch on the aggrieved, not Mau Mau, aggrieved 90,000. Who are they? Where were they representing? Mau Mau was a group that had taken oath. They know each other. It was an organized group, and it didn't have 90,000 people. We are talking about the youth of the Mount Kenya were in the forest. Not all, but over 80%. The elderly below 50 were forced to be in the forest. So when talk about 90,000, this is not Kenya they're representing. This is just a figure for them to have money channeled through their accounts so that they can compensate them. You know, the issue of the Mau Mau can be revisited if people would go to places like Mount Kenya region and begin to take the statistics as per homestead. We know each other. We know who went to the forest and which family never sent anyone to the forest. People know. They have this history. That is how they would get the correct data. But these guys here, these are in business. The civil society is in business. Yes. You get the point? They just have a list of some maybe majority Kikuyu list, and they say these are the children of Mama, just like the one who are fronted by Gitu Kahengeri, and they got some money from Britain. But this is what is happening in Kenya. But going to the real roots, he will have to apologize, and he'll have to have the Mau Mau history corrected. And the issue which was to be settled for the body of Dedan Kimathi that was buried by the British is also another issue, thorny issue that should be dealt with. But we don't need the British permission to dig out the bones, if at all we know where it was. And actually there was this gentleman who passed on, and the others who are still alive, they know where the remains of Dedan Kimathi are. He should also respond to the Kalenjins, the Nandi, because of the head of Koitalel Arap Somoy, which is in some museum somewhere in the UK, should be brought forth. You know, we should also get off the mindset of evolution, which was created so that we can forget Turkana as a place that is rich with oil. It was created into a shrine, so it was left as a shrine for the Kenyans. You don't dig oil, you don't go for the wealth. And I'm telling you, Turkana is one of the wealthiest regions. You remember when Governor Nanok took over, he actually sunk a borehole 600 feet. I remember that statement very well. 600 feet only. And he was able to access clean, fresh water. While in Nairobi here, you have to go almost 2,000 feet to get some salty water, you know. So what I'm trying to say is Turkana is rich. It has oil. So when the archaeologists were digging up the bones, they must have discovered there is oil, because the technology of sensing oil did not begin now. There are people who are using some liquid, and they're able to know what is there. It used to be used even then. So what I'm trying to say is that they knew there was oil. And since oil enriches, they wouldn't have allowed a country like Kenya to become rich, because they knew the intelligence of Kenyans as they left in 1963. So let's create a shrine. Talk about Zinjanthropus, but ask them where the Homo sapiens come in. The Homo sapiens, which is an image of Mzungu, came in. This is the kind of nonsense that should not be taught to our children about evolution. You get the point? So the apology, the historic apology, is on the historical injustice that were brought about by the British, occupying the best of our lands, you know, and maiming, killing, and still continuing in Nanyuki. You hear a lot of whatever is happening from the training camp that is, training base that is there at Nanyuki, inside a country, you have a base, a military base for another country, I think it's time that we shake it off. And I congratulate His Excellency President William Ruto for taking that Pan-African stance. Let's open up our mind and begin to see things from inside Africa and from inside Kenya. You know, you don't say that I'm free from you and I'm still a member of Commonwealth. What is Commonwealth? It was an outfit to put the colonies together. Then your mind is still bound by the British monarchy. It's time you do another liberation. And that is where we are. Pan-Africanism is about emancipating ourselves, our minds. You know, the French colonization that took up the West, the Western Africa. They must, because they were actually it's called assimilation. They were assimilated into the systems, the mannerisms, and the behavior of the French culture, traditions, and everything. That's why they're so engrossed into, you know, the culture, the language, the everything. They dropped theirs and actually embraced this other thing from the British, from the French. Africans from the East African region, and especially Kenya, I think it is time we emancipate ourselves, and we must answer these questions. Yeah. We are not very happy. We are not very happy. That's why I'm saying it's one of the most unpopular. Having a king of his stature, you know, faced by the challenge of Africans. And it's not just the leadership. Now they're not dealing with the leadership. They're dealing with us, Kenyans, ordinary Africans are the ones who are telling them, hey, it's time you change your tact and style. You know, historically, even using the word white, unless you're colorblind, like I said somewhere in KICC in a youth conference, I sought for somebody who would look like this piece of paper. This is what I call color white. So have you ever seen anybody who looks white? Even he himself, does it look white? No, these are the racial insults that Africans received. Of course, we are black, okay? But am I black really? Personally, I think I'm chocolate brown. So you see, unless you don't see that, but I can close my eyes and open my eyes and pick a black person, you know? Just like that. But a white person, even one who feeds on snow, has never changed into white. You know, the Eskimos. So what I'm trying to say, it was brought in to show us that the devil is black, looks like Zinjanthropus with the now horns and red eyes and a tail, and becomes Zinjanthropus, becomes the devil. Then in the dark continent, which is hell, you know. And then the angel is Kamuzungu with some wings, you know. And yeah, you know, those kind of things are the ones we are supposed to drop them by ourselves. I mean, look at the Kenyan law. The Kenyan lawyers, the Kenyan legal system is actually anchored on the British system. They make references to authority, blah, 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 from I don't know what, Manchester, wherever. I mean, their case is done in Turkana that were decided under the Kenyan law. So even the minds we call smart need to change their stand. Whatever they call authorities, whatever they call precedences, they're still referring to a case decided in Liverpool. Then you bring it to a court in, you know, Marsabit. I mean, it doesn't make sense to those people. They don't understand. But you see lawyers quoting. Why? Because they're mentally bound. And I'm saying this on national TV. It's time our judicial system, judiciary, begin to work out a legal system, legal framework they can create for themselves, one that is ideal for Kenyans and Africa, that embraces culture, tradition, and religion. So once they do that, then we will have a bit transformed African mindset.
Yes.
He has too many questions to answer. He will not be able to answer them all right now, but he must respond to some. So it is not a popular visit. Yeah.
But it's one that we've been preparing for.
Economically, he will have to negotiate for Britain for whatever they want to benefit from Kenya. They have been consuming our Kenyan coffee for the longest time cheaply, you know, just from the coffee auction here. They obtain every coffee that we had. But today you saw Deputy President Gachagua signing deals with Java of Belgium, you know, and many others from other countries will come in. So we'll have to break away from that. Remember, Mwai Kibaki started it when he rejected the firefighting machines, fire engines, which were used in 1960s. He said, return them. That's why Murungaru was told you're vomiting on the shoes of the one feeding you. You know, that's an insult by just a mere ambassador, Job Group K. I don't know which group, but this is the kind of insult you're supposed to let off. We saw President Kibaki going for jet fighters from Czechoslovakia and China, which were up to date in terms of technology. We can't stay. You know, the jet fighters we had by that time were actually granted to us, and we are paying slowly, which were being used in 1945, refurbished.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're getting out of that.
Yeah, now we are waiting also to see how that will turn out to be tomorrow. We do expect that the king will be coming to the country for his first visit to an African nation and also a Commonwealth country since his ordination.
Yeah, but my appeal as I close, I know you're about to close, is to the so-called Premier League fans, our young generation. They should understand that what we are talking about here is not just mere propaganda. They should learn their history. They should know their roots. They should know from where they came from. So that while they are enjoying the EPL goodies that are being thrown to them, so that they don't see who they really are, it's time they enjoy whatever is thrown to them, but at the same time know that they are Kenyans. They should be patriotic, and they should uphold it in all ways.
So in short, you're saying they should start supporting Harambee Stars.
We support Harambee Stars as you enjoy the money from the EPL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now that marks the end of EBN Morning Live today. Many thanks for joining us. Thank you for coming through.
My pleasure.
Until next time, remember to join my colleague Emmanuel Maru at exactly 11:30 for Makala ya Gatuzi Lango. He will be telling you more about Kawire Mwangaza's host, and also is there a likelihood that she will survive the Senate? Will she survive the Senate's
Of course
vote?
she will. She will.
Interesting. You know, many have been assuming, or rather many are saying that this time round, the chances are like 2%.
Let me tell you, it's because they don't know. It's Mithika Linturi who took over the chairmanship of Njuri Ncheke. So Njuri Ncheke is not just another political outfit. You know, it may not make a lot of sense. It is somebody who is trying to settle scores. And when it gets to the floor of the House, definitely they look at these things. They will make a very sound decision. Kawira Mwangaza is not going anywhere because they never allowed her. Even the first time they took her to the Senate, imagine she hadn't even she hadn't completed formulating her government. But they already spoken about, you know, not being able to deliver.
Yes.
How are you not able to deliver while you're still on the starting point of the race? On your marks.
Well, we're waiting to see how that conversation will go on at exactly 11:30. Emmanuel Maru will be having a very interesting conversation, and also he will be taking a look on the threshold of impeaching a governor. Are they up to standard? Remember that the other day after Kirinyaga County Governor Anna Iguru took over office, she stated that it is time we raise the bar, the threshold, so that we stop this misuse of impeaching governors each and every time. Well, that conversation will be coming up to you at exactly 11:30 to all the way to 12:30 right here at Makala ya Gatuzi Lango. Remember, you can have or rather follow up the conversation on our socials at EBN TV for many more. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.